Hey, Will, if we could just remind everybody that's not talking to mute, it'd be great because you're getting drowned out by some background noise from someone.
Yeah, I hear a lot of white noise. So yeah, so it's really helpful for whenever you're not talking to always be muted, because you know sometimes like a fan in the background or something will cause a lot of distortion for everybody else.
All right, so this document is more or less a high-level analysis of kind of the state of CMS websites, and then what we can do, what DNN can do to better differentiate themselves and present the right message to, our potential stakeholders. And so, in order to do that, I kind of just gave a real brief history of what the website was. You can read this later. But essentially what I'm doing, the process I followed here was to identify who our target audiences were, and then figure out what's important to them, why might they be interested in DNN, what are they hoping to find when they come to the website. And then I did a competitive analysis of other CMS systems, and you can see them listed over here. I just picked kind of the top 7. I didn't do like Orchard and some of the smaller ones, but I didn't think that was necessary. But and so essentially when I was looking at the competition, I was trying to find out what they do well and what they don't do well, kind of get ideas on how we can, what we can do with our website. And then I just took a look at some generally best of breed websites that have been recognized for having good messaging and what they're doing, completely outside of our industry. And then I said, hey, what makes us different and how can we stand out? And then try and summarize that into a coherent message. And then at the very end, I come up with a kind of design strategy with the page hierarchy and top-level navigation. And I have some messaging examples just to kind of get the ball rolling. By no means that the end-all, be-all, this is what we should do. But so you'll see just the target audiences here I've identified, kind of the business owners, the small business and enterprise businesses. And I just listed out here what are their concerns? What are they concerned about when they're trying to make a decision on what web platform should I use for this company? What are they looking at? And then, the marketing teams, end users, content owners, what are they concerned about? IT departments, what are they concerned about? Agency partners and resellers, and then developers. So if anybody has any ideas, obviously I need feedback on all these things. If you want to add to the list, or if there's things that we need to be aware of, we need to make sure that we're structuring our message to address these concerns of people, and that we're somehow answering these questions that they're asking. So obviously we first need to know what the questions are. So I do definitely encourage everybody to go and read this and dispute it, come up with more stuff, whatever. This is just my opinion right now, so I need feedback. And then in the competitive analysis section, I just kind of took a screenshot of their homepage and said, okay, here's what the impression is when you first look at this. What are they trying to tell you? When above the fold, when you first go to their website, what is the message that they're sending you? And so I just kind of summarize it here. Their primary message is that it's free, and that it's open source, used by thousands, flexible, and it's easy content editing. You can get all that just from reading this quick thing here. And then below the fold, all of them have these kinds of social proof with company logos and stats and that kind of stuff. So that's important. And then top-level navigation, I kind of made a note of what the top-level navigation feels like or looks like. And then these are my impressions of how, when you look at the website, what's the message that you're getting. And so one of the things that I highlighted here that I think Umbraco does really well is that they have this community section that has a whole lot of technical information and resources, but it's not very easy to find. So if you go to the site, you don't even see it up here. You have to you almost have to know it exists before you can find it. So they don't do a very good job of making it easy to find this great resource, but it's a great resource. Kintico, again, you guys can read it. I'm not going to read it to you. Here's a WordPress, Sitecore, Joomla, Drupal, Sitefinity. And then I took a look at some nice websites. So there's Slack, and you look at their messaging. One of the things you'll see here is that their top level message is all about solving a problem. These these websites they're not listing off a bunch of features or what version they're on. Or, nobody cares about that. They want to know, how can you help me? And so that's what these websites do well. They're very simple. I mean, it's one or two lines. It's very simple. You should be able to summarize what you do and summarize it, and present your message very simply like that. I made a note of kind of some of the buzzword bingo category, I call it. These are things that you see a lot. These terms were used a lot in the various websites, so I just kind of made a note of those. And then I started a differentiator grid here, and I need some help with this. So what I'm trying to do here is find out, how can we be different? And what things should we be highlighting? So I definitely need some help here, and if there's other factors here that we need to be considering and doing some research on what each of these competitors are doing, that would be helpful. But the takeaway here is that DNN is a free open source Microsoft based with a large community and marketplace. That's what our message needs to be, I think, because that's what sets us apart. And Abraco is our closest competitor, which we kind of all knew that anyway. But just to have the research here to back it up. And then the features and benefits section here. So the key thing here is features tell and benefits sell. So when you list a feature here, the follow-on question to that is so what? So if you say it's open source, okay, why do I care that it's open source? Well, it lowers your software costs, it's flexible, there's no vendor lock-in, there's security and accountability. So these are the messages that we need to be putting on the website, not, hey, we're open source, because that doesn't necessarily mean anything to anybody. You need to be marketing these messages as, hey, you can lower your software costs, and here's how we can help you do it because we're open source. And so we're solving a pain point. We're speaking to that. This is where the messaging comes from. It's listing the benefits here and selling the benefits. And then down here below, again, I need some help here too, filling out this matrix. I'm sure there's a lot more things that we could be highlighting here. And then the content strategy. I say we because I'm the only person who's working on this document right now, but this is my idea, and this is where I think we should go. But what I believe we should be doing is taking the same approach that kind of like Drupal does and Abraco does, is having DNN.com be kind of the entry-level business sales portal, and then having DNNsoftware.org being the community side that we would be in control of, and that's where all the blogs and all the technical resources and all the great stuff that is out there currently spread out throughout the internet all over the place, and some of it's on DNN Connect, and it's all over the place. We should centralize that into one portal underneath the DNN software domain. And I think that we can do that, and I think it's going to be very effective. And so, I've heard some people say, well, isn't that going to hurt SEO? And I don't think so, and I put some arguments here. Feel free to dispute that. Okay, so here's my proposal for how the DNNsoftware.com menu structure could look. So, why use DNN? List out, the possible solutions here, and we've got a lot of good content writers that can fill all this stuff in. And then, the features and benefits. Okay. Who uses it, how to get started, and then join the community, which would redirect us to the community side. And that's where all the really deep dive technical resources would be. And then, so DNNsoftware.org, and again, this is just kind of a top level. I didn't go very deep with this, but the forum, the blog, the projects that Ernst Peter is putting together, the project list, documentation, downloads, how to contribute, how to set up, get connected to GitHub and actually make contributions, the marketplace, an event calendar, all that stuff would be there. So the deeper dive, that once you're hooked on, okay, I'm going to use DNN software, now you can go to the community site and actually get all the resources you need to actually do it. And then I have down here at the bottom kind of just an idea for the top level messaging, the last web platform that you'll ever need. And essentially what I'm trying to tell to people is, hey, a very common theme and a very common pain point is, I don't want to have to learn a new technology every 2 years. I don't want to have to switch web platforms. This year it's Drupal, next year it's something else, or I don't want to have to switch technologies. Or if I'm a developer, I don't want to have to learn a new technology and go to a new job. I can't use that anymore. So what I'm trying to imply here is that, hey, DNN can solve your problems, whatever they are. Whatever your web needs are, we can do it. And so, get comfortable with this, and this is the last web platform you're ever going to have to, buy, use, learn, whatever. This is the last thing you ever have to need. And then the kind of the tagline here is how we can do that. So we can, again, this is kind of some of this is marketing fluff, but again, I'm trying to highlight the things that set us apart. It's open source, it's extremely customizable, it's community driven, and it's .NET based, and it's free. And then down below here, I kind of a deeper dive below the fold into kind of targeted messages towards our stakeholders. So, DNN for business, we're going to have some messaging towards them. Agency partners, developers, those are kind of the three biggest ones. And then obviously we're going to have some trust factors here with statistics and company logos, some other stuff like latest blog posts and things like that. We can put all that stuff in here as well, just kind of down below the fold. I've got a rough wireframe here for what it might look like. And then next step, some of this I've kind of already done, but again, we need to refine it. So the next biggest thing is if you guys are all on board with this, is to get somebody to actually, graphic designer to actually build it out. And I think we can probably use some of what Thompson has done, kind of if everybody likes that theme, and build it around that kind of look and feel, and just insert the messaging into that. So that's where I'm at with it. Anybody still listening?
Stunned silence, I guess. Good. This is a terrific document, and I'm going to steal the format for some other things I'm doing.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this is it's a long document. It's 25 pages long so far, so I won't be able to cover it all in this meeting. But download it, take a deep dive into it. Feel free to say I'm wrong or whatever. Let's get the communication and the discussion started, and let's refine the message and make sure that this is what we want to go to market with, and then we'll take it and present it to Andy, and hopefully they will agree with it and let us have a DNNsoftware.org site that we can run ourselves. I think that's the goal here, is to get some more control over what the messaging is.
Will, if you're talking, I think you're muted.
Everyone there? Well, I don't know if you're talking or not, but we don't hear anything.
Yeah, Jay, I hear you. This is Clint. I don't hear Will. I see him moving his mouth there.
Hello. All right. So now.
Yes.
Let me again. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
No.
Hello. We hear you.
All right. Well, no. So my main mic for some reason just quit. Well, maybe I have to reboot or something. Can you still hear me?
Now I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. That explains why Joe talked all over me. I was like, dang, that was rude. All right. Yeah, so I had so what, yeah, Joe. So one of the things I wanted to just throw out there is I don't want us to dive too far into the details yet, because this is kind of high level planning. And one of the things that I asked and proposed is that maybe we should have a more frequent meeting that's just about this, whether it's weekly or biweekly, something like that, I don't know if anybody's up to doing that, but we can do that on a regular basis to make sure we're continually pushing towards a goal. And then those meetings we should dive into the details. But I did have a couple questions for you, Jay. First of all, this is fantastic. It's an amazing amount of work. But I had a question about the buzzword bingo. I was curious if the keywords that you listed, are they in any specific order?
Not necessarily. When I was putting them together, as I listed some, I thought, some of these are more important, like the open source, community driven, and free. I thought those were more important than maybe some of the ones down at the bottom. But, again, that's just me listing them. So this isn't a definitive, 1 to 15 list. It's just, these, I feel like these are more important than the other ones.
Yeah, somebody with, it would be interesting if, all the ones that you reviewed, like Umbraco through Sitefinity, if somebody, I know there's tools out there where you can throw it into the SEO engine and it spits out the keywords that the competitors are using. It'd be cool if somebody could leverage that and then provide us with a list of something that's more data driven. So that way we can focus on that.
Yeah, I have some tools that I can do that with, some HubSpot or SEMrush or something like that. I can do that with. Yeah.
What else? There was one of the things that and again, this is probably for a future meeting, but one of my initial things is we're using free everywhere, and at the end of the day, open source is not free. So we probably want to be careful about how much we harp on that. And then my other feedback is the headline. I like the purpose and intent, but we definitely probably need to boil that down a little bit more.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feel free to come up with alternatives. This was just my idea.
Yeah, and that I think that's what we need to do moving forward. I mean, and you've already said that, but as a group and just addressing a group, that's what we need to do moving forward. And not everything in here we're going to agree on either now or in the future. But we do need to move forward, whatever that thing is that the majority ends up deciding on. So are there any other bits of feedback for Jay?
I had one interesting thing, if you can hear me. I have an employee that's been here 4 months. He comes from a WordPress and Drupal background. He's not much of a developer, like back-end database stuff, but he does a lot of power user front-end stuff, front-end developer. And so I did ask him what he thought of WordPress versus DNN. And he gave it to me in writing. I'll paste this into the chat in case anybody wants to use it, but I felt it was really kind of important to see what a new person exposed to DNN in 2018 was getting out of it. And he said DNN isn't really a use right out of the box kind of thing like WordPress. There's a huge learning curve, so it's kind of apples and oranges if you ask me. It seems like DNN's messaging should target developers and not really the general public so much. If a bunch of novices attempt to use DNN, they'll inevitably grow frustrated quickly and complain about it online. The thing that first moved me towards embracing Drupal was having a developer I respected say that WordPress was for babies. Maybe they should go with that angle, wink, wink. But anyhow, it struck me that the messaging that he was getting out of actually, being forced to work on it here, he's still walking away, even with my help, feeling like it's too technical. Anyhow, I just wanted to share that, and I'll paste that in the chat in case anybody wants to read it again.
That's actually very well put. I share the perspective, to be honest. And I'm going to put that in the Slack too, because that's important for us to put into our planning.
Yeah, and I think there's going to be some adjustment here. I mean, we can come up with the marketing message on why people should use it, and it may be a case where we're we're selling people on why they should use it, and we don't actually really do that all that well yet. And this may be something where we need to spend some development resources and improve those areas because, you know, like you say, it's not friendly for somebody that's just starting. Maybe we need to have better, not just tutorials, but maybe the interface within DNN needs to be improved to make it more intuitive to use. You know, those are valid concerns. And so we can say, hey, this is easy to use, but we may know that because we've been using it for 15 years, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's true. So. Yeah.
It's interesting to be sitting here in 2018 and see the massive move towards website builders and the instant out-of-the-box gratification experience that you get from something like Wix, as long as you don't screw it up. And DNN doesn't yet do some of those things right unless you really know what you're doing. Even some of the ones that are done right, even with my background and experience, if I just want to spin up something on a paid Porto 4 template on DNN 9, I got to tell you, I wasted 2 or 3 days on technical issues. It would have been an impossible nightmare for a new user. And so we really need to focus on a lot of, and this isn't just about the website messaging, but it does overlap into the areas of really making sure the out-of-the-box experience for each of the groups that are identified and being marketed to, that their actual experience when they crack things open is pretty good. And I think it can get there quickly. A lot of the stuff I ran into, it just needs better docs. We need to not trip over bugs, you know, that other kind of stuff. I'm getting off topic, and I didn't want to be critical, but I thought it was worth sharing.
Yep. No, those are powerful words. Yeah. Very cool. Is there any other feedback? Because I want to, give people their time back. Is there anything else? All right. So we're going to continue this in the Slack channel, and we're going to probably have some sort of regular meeting that's more specific to just this topic. So if you want to help with that, please feel free. Join the channel if you haven't already. And we'll continue it there. And that goes for everybody that's watching the video. Feel free to join us. All right. So thank you again, Jay, for all the work, and Jeremy for that feedback with that with your employee. That's epic. And appreciate everybody sticking around. And I look forward to our next meeting. So we'll chat at you in Slack. Thank you. And the recording is stopping.